6:02, I'll call this meeting of the Common Council to order. If you could please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, Treasurer Aldridge.
Carolyn Pearson, present. Richard Traeger,
Present.
Brian Garrison,
Present.
Dale Stewart,
Here.
Mike Shaw.
Present.
So the first item of business is to election of President Pro Tem as required by Indiana Code. Nominations are now in order for the office of President Pro Tem. Are there any nominations?
I would nominate Dale Stewart to be president of the city council.
We have a nomination of Dale Seward. I read Robert's Rules of Order earlier today. We don't need a second on nominations. Are there any further nominations? So nominations are closed. I don't believe we need to vote. All right, with only one nominee for the one position, the nominee is considered elected as the President Pro Tem of the Common Council. Kenzie, that sound right?
It does.
All right. All right, move next to reading of minutes and approval. First set of minutes, or the only set of minutes is from December 3rd, 2018. Any additions, subtractions, deletions, or amendments to be made to this set of minutes?
I move for approval of the December 3rd meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Move next to department head reports. Most of you were here for the Board of Public Works and Safety meeting. Do we want to go over department head reports again?
No.
No? Would anybody on the council like to go over department head reports again?
Not at this time.
Are there any questions for the department heads that you didn't get to ask during the board meeting?
I'd like to ask Steve. Steve, do you know, maybe Aaron does, I'm not sure, but how many miles of streets do we have in the city?
A little over 19.
I've got that question. I told him I don't know.
A little over 19. Where are we at? 19 and a half after Relinquishment?
I think we were actually 20 point something. We were 19 or 20.
19 or 20? Okay, good.
Any other questions for the department heads? Clerk Treasurer Aldridge, do you have anything you'd like to report? I'll try to keep you from talking. Area Plan Commission report, Councilman Seward.
We had no meeting in December, so there is nothing to report.
Okay. Community Center report, Councilman Shockley.
They had a meeting, but I wasn't able to make it. It was the end of the year meeting.
So we'll move next to the appointment or reappointment of 2 members to the Delphi Redevelopment Commission. Nominations are now in order for 2 members of the Delphi Redevelopment Commission. Are there any nominations?
I nominate Anita Whirling.
Anita Whirling has been nominated. Any further nominations?
I would nominate Kevin Gatscomb. He's willing to serve again.
Kevin Gaskell is nominated. Any further nominations? All right. Without objection, nominations are closed. With only 2 nominees for 2 positions, both nominees are considered elected to the Delphi Redevelopment Commission by acclamation. So it's Anita Whirling and Kevin Gaskell. We move next to appoint or reappointment of an elected official to the Northwest Solid Waste District, Councilman Shockley. You previously served in that position. Would you be willing to serve again in 2019?
I will serve again in 2019, yes.
So I will appoint Councilman Shockley to serve on the Solid Waste District. This is different than the other positions, so this is an appointment by the mayor and then approval by the council. So is there a motion to approve Councilman Shockley to serve on the Northwest Solid Waste District?
So moved. Second.
We've got Councilman Garrison and Councilman Seward. Any further discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
By the way, Mayor, our first meeting is February 14th,
Valentine's Day.
at 3:30 in the afternoon.
Sweetheart deal.
All right. Move next to proposed ordinance 2019-1, read by title only, ordinance enacting, adopting a supplement to the code of ordinance for the city of Delphi. This is the first reading of the proposed ordinance. This ordinance serves to update the Delphi Code of Ordinances pursuant to all ordinances passed and adopted since the last codification. I believe the last codification was January of 2018. Is there any discussion regarding proposed ordinance 2019-1? Is there a motion to approve proposed ordinance 2019-1 on first reading?
I move for the approval of ordinance 2019.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Last year we did this all on the same day. Really, it's just putting whatever we adopted in ordinances into the code, giving them section numbers or repealing or amending the language pursuant to those ordinances. Would the council like to suspend the rules of procedure to allow for passage on the same day as introduction?
For the -1,
Correct, for the -1. It's just,
I would move to suspend the rules and pass ordinance 2019 on second reading.
Second.
a motion and a second to suspend the rules of procedure. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? All right, motion carries. This is the second reading of proposed ordinance 2019-1, ordinance enacting adopting a supplement to the code of ordinances for the city of Delphi. Is there a motion to pass on second reading? Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This is the third and final reading. Ordinance enacting and adopting a supplement to the code of ordinance for the city of Delphi. Motion to pass on third and final reading.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We will get that up on the website. All right, we did that proposed ordinance 2019-2. What this is, with it being an election year, and I know 4 years ago, I looked to the city of Delphi Code of Ordinances to try to get an understanding of city boards, departments, how things operated. And there's quite a bit of antiquated or outdated or inconsistent sections of code, especially within Title III of the Delphi Code. For example, it says that the mayor appoints the fire chief. Once we entered into the fire territory agreement in 2008, the fire chief's appointed by the fire territory executive board. It's got that we have an animal control supervisor or two, and we share that responsibility with Flora. That's no longer applicable. That we have a city planning commission, which that hasn't been applicable for probably close to 50 years. So what I tried to do in proposed ordinance 2019-2 is update it to reflect the newer ordinances that put the other ones, repealed or amended the old ones, updated it to try to comply with Indiana code as regards to appointments, and tried to make it a little easier to read. The one that we have currently is all over the place, and that's probably because we haven't had a significant update to it since 1963. I mean, I know we had an update maybe under Mayor Wagner or Dyward, but even then it incorporated a lot of the old sections of code. But there are a significant number of changes between what we have now and what's being proposed, and I just wanted a discussion. If the council wants to proceed with this, how would they like to proceed?
I would agree that I think the special meeting to to address, I guess I just don't feel comfortable in reading it, and there's a lot of interpretation that sometimes we as people that don't deal with it all the time maybe need clarified. So I guess I would like to not pass it tonight.
Oh, yeah. And I didn't want to introduce it tonight, I just kind of wanted to get a discussion of how we'd like to proceed. Councilman Garrison, you were saying something?
Oh, I'm just saying I'd like a chance to kind of, are we gonna sit down and go over them, or are you gonna word them out and then we look at them, or are we gonna discuss what needs to go in? Are we just gonna toss out the ones that aren't applicable anymore? What is our main goal here?
We could, so the goal, I can't remember what I said in my memo to you guys, but really it's a reformatting to make it clear to read and to get rid of the stuff that's no longer applicable and amend the stuff consistent with other ordinances that we passed. So it's kind of three-part.
But anything that would change would come back through us anyway, we would have to vote on to be able to at
You
least
could-
view it before it's changed.
Say that one more time.
View it. I mean, if you change, you can't just go in and amend an ordinance that's in there, in part of that, or some part of that, without us discussing what you're getting ready to do, right?
Right, yeah, no, I just put all of the changes into one ordinance, which is that 2019-2.
Right.
But no, we can discuss them individually, we can sit down and go through all the proposed changes, if that's how council
Then
desires
I'm
to
in
proceed.
agreement with Carolyn, I think we should have set a meeting of some type where we can at least look over them and have some discussion with, if we have trouble, like Carolyn's saying, with all things like contracts and that, or
There's
questionable how you interpret it, or if you understand it at all, so I'd
Yeah.
like to have people I can discuss it with, so like.
Yeah, and when you're relying on the 1963 version for
Well,
some
I've went through
sections.
them a lot, and I agree, there's a lot there we can just cast out, but.
Any further discussion on this? Do we want to look at our calendars and then at the February meeting, we can schedule a meeting for February or March? That'd be all right? All right.
Have you already made changes to that, Shane?
So what's within 2019-2 are the changes that I proposed. I spent a little bit of time and went through and tried to reformat it. I looked at Frankfurt's Code of Ordinances, which is a little better than what we had in the state statutes.
Is that all of it there?
Correct. Yeah, that's all that should be in what you got in the packet. So it would really just be replacing what we have as Title III with this was my proposal, but obviously there's changes that can be made or things that I overlooked. It's
Okay.
quite a bit of code. All right. Any further discussion on that? All right. So we move next to proposed resolution 2019-1, read by title alone, a resolution setting 2019 trick or treat date and time. Is there a motion to set the specific date and time of trick or treat?
What number did you say?
Resolution 2019-1.
You've got garage sale permit under that.
On my agenda? Or,
Yeah.
oh, sorry. That's a,
Well, I could be wrong.
that's an error in the agenda then,
Okay.
but it's, yeah, so that's an error in the agenda. So 2019-1 is a resolution setting 2019 trick or treat date and time.
And we're doing this now because,
Because we get it out of the way. Yeah. Because we gotta do it sometime this year.
sometimes I think things could come up if, I mean, not that I think that it probably will, but, you know, if, for instance, the church is doing something, I just think it's a little premature, but if you want to do it, I guess I don't have a real problem with it.
It's the, you know, the council, it's your guys' decision if you want to do it now or wait. I feel like if we do it in October, everybody has already asked when we're doing trick or treat. we do it in September, I feel like most churches and organizations haven't really scheduled their stuff yet, or they're waiting to see what we're doing. So, but, I mean, we could wait if the council so desires.
31st is on Thursday.
So to do it, we have to set the day, the time, the hours.
And yes, so Halloween's on Thursday, October 31st. For the last 3 years, and there's a typo there, the council set it on that date between 6 p.m. and 8:30 p.m.
Could we go back and change it if there was a problem?
Yeah, it's a resolution, you guys can change it.
I propose resolution 2019-1 of Halloween date of the 31st from 6 to 8:30 p.m.
Sorry. A motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Move next, proposed resolution 2019-2, read by title alone, a resolution waiving garage sale permit fees during Old Settlers. Is there any discussion regarding this proposed resolution? This is another one that we could wait.
Is this supposed to just for Old Settlers only?
Correct, it's only for the days, the Wednesday through Saturday of Old Settlers. Or actually Wednesday through Sunday.
Do we have confirmation that this indeed will take place? Do we have confirmation from the chamber?
We do not.
I think we ought to wait then, because they may not even have that activity.
Any other discussion from the council? Consider table. Under resolution 2018-1, the council provided that councilors should be appointed to serve as council liaisons to departments. So please find a certificate of appointment in your packet. This 7th day of January 2019. Next item I have is just a legislative summary, and President Pro Tem, or Councilwoman Pearson pointed out something that was wrong in the 2017 legislative summary, but I tried to go back and look at all the ordinances and resolutions passed in 2018 and summarize them here for the council. I've got 2017 as well, which I think you got last January, and then I went back and summarized 2016, and then I actually went back to 1992 to try to figure out if we were passing more or less ordinances than in other years and what categories of ordinances we were passing. Seems like between 92 and 95, a lot of them were budget process stuff, so it was budget, wages, salary ordinances. They amended the salary ordinances quite a bit back then. I don't know why. I found quite a few occasions of amending wages or salary ordinances. But the bulk of it was additional appropriations under the budget process stuff. So it's just for your guys' records. Are there any questions regarding legislative summary? All right. Next item I've got on the agenda is legislative goals. Is there anything the council would like to discuss about goals for calendar year 2019?
No.
Tearing down, I'll go on to the next item of business, which is the next level trails. So Governor Holcomb announced on December 6th 2018, that they're gonna offer a next level trails grant. I can't remember, I think it's 90 million available total, 25 million available in the first round. The grant, it's an 80-20, with a minimum total project cost of $200,000. So if we met the minimum, the project cost would be $200,000, our match would be $40,000, the state's match would be $160,000. I met with some representatives from the Wabash Area Canal Association, HHI, and the Carroll County Chamber of Commerce to go over potential trail projects in and around the city of Delphi. With the limited period of time since Governor Holcomb announced it December 6th, and we have until February 15th to apply, we looked at the High Bridge Trail, which extends from High Bridge, currently stops kind of close to Superintendent Myers' house, I guess directly north from Superintendent Myers' house. So we looked at the possibility of extending that trail all the way down to Sam Milroy for bicyclists that are taking Old Stony Road or Sam Milroy Road, shoring up some erosion, which is between Freedom Bridge and High Bridge, and then paving the trail, making it wider. If we had a 10-foot wide trail, it'd be considered multi-use, it'd get additional points. If we had it paved, it would greatly improve accessibility to people with disabilities. And with the bridging deck and rail repair that's going on at High Bridge, it's going to be even more of an amenity, more people going out there. There's a lot I still don't know about the grant, the funding, the cost. I reached out to T-Bird, who designed Sam Milroy Road for us. They should be getting an engineer's estimate back to us in like 2 or 3 weeks, I'd imagine. The match can be possibly retroactive from other matches that have been made for that project. So it's possible that the match that the NCHS for the bridge decking, it's possible that the money that Deer Creek Township and NCHS put into the bridge decking could be considered the match for the project, even though that's already scheduled to be completed. There's been some instances where they allow retroactive match, but it may not. So I need to get that information before the next meeting. I just want to inform the council, we'll open it up for discussion, questions, thoughts at this point.
I think if the retro match is available, then it could be a great idea. I don't know that, I think spending $40,000 for a match, if that would not work, is a real necessary thing, but, I mean, this is the first I've realized that that's your intent.
And the grant is basically trails and.
Correct, it's solely trails, no motorized trails. It does allow for stone. They have different pots of money, so there's 25 million being awarded the first round. 20 million is going to be set aside for regional projects, and I can't remember what regional their definition was. I'd imagine connecting 2 communities or involving 2 counties or something along those lines. Then 5 million for local projects. It is available to units of government and nonprofit organizations within the state of Indiana. I believe the money came from the increased toll road fees, tolls.
And who, when are they supposed to finish the work on the High Bridge, do you know?
I do not know, do you know?
Partially weather dependent.
Pardon me?
I think it's partially weather dependent.
So they're waiting to start, or they've done
Well,
any?
they've done a lot of work on the pier, but they still have, I think, additional work to complete on that.
And the pier was stabilized.
Right, I knew they were gonna start, I didn't know when
They
they
just
started.
have to pour concrete a little farther up, and then they can start from the Delphi.
Well, I think it's a wonderful idea. It's definitely a beautiful area out there, and anything we can do to help draw people in and make it easier, again, for handicapped people, if there's parking and there's access, if they can get back and see that. It's really nice back there. I think it's worth discussing. Like I said, if you can get the retro, that's even better.
Any further discussion? Yes, sir.
What's the game plan for Samuel Miller?
No, it would terminate at Sam Milroy.
Okay.
So it's the old railroad embankment, so it would involve excavation of some of that to meet the slope, so that you could attach it just at Sam Milroy, wherever that railroad embankment is.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
We discussed this before, Mayor, but it's not gonna end up behind my subdivision in interurban estates, it hasn't moved, right?
What's that?
The trail's not gonna end up behind my subdivision in interurban estates, was we discussed before. He
Correct.
said it's been moved out on the road, right?
Yeah, we've got sidewalk running down East Main Street, and then we've got sidewalk in our
But
plans for
to
Sam
start with,
Milroy.
it was going down behind all my properties there, and that's been moved, it's still has been moved, correct?
I don't think there's a plan for a trail along the property.
So there was. And you said it got moved, I just wanna make sure that we're still on the same page, it's not gonna go there.
Yeah, no, there's,
It's going down to San Miller Road and coming down
There's
that.
a sidewalk going on Samuel Miller
Okay.
if we get that.
right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? I will have more information at the next meeting. Yes.
From where would the $40,000 come if there isn't a retro match? What fund?
General. Or rainy day. But, yeah,
So
Get that
there'd be an
information.
additional appropriation.
correct. Yes,
I just want to make one quick comment. I just think if it's the retroactive where it's not going to have any money come out, I think that would be good to move forward. But if you're going to take any more money out of the community, we have beautiful trails now. We have beautiful access to things. We have a lot of trails, over 10 miles worth of it. I just think as a taxpayer, we're spending $14 million on water, and then we're gonna update something that, what percentage of the population is gonna actually use it? I don't know what percent uses it now, but it's only used, I would think, during certain months. It's not used year-round. It's not a year-round activity. No one's out there in the dead of winter walking trails.
I'll bet you there was some people out there this weekend.
But it's not, according to this, yes, the season is winter, I'm talking the weather, winter. Actual snow, I mean, are you gonna be out there shoveling them so people can walk? So that's what I'm saying, I mean, we're spending money on something that's not gonna be accessible necessarily year-round. That's my opinion.
you could also look at it as an economic development tool, that we're gonna bring people into the community, and that we're spending 1/5 of the cost of the trail.
I'm just saying, as a taxpayer, I think if it goes back to where there's no more money coming out, I think it's fine to up, but at this current juncture, not knowing our water situation, that just puts more burden, just taking money out that we can be using and not spending it. Does that make sense?
Oh.
We're not borrowing, you're gonna spend $40,000 on this, but yet we're gonna keep borrowing money to take care of this problem. Why not take that $40,000 and apply it to the problem that we've already got?
I think Gumball kind of explained a little bit of that. At least they explained it under the auspices of the edit fund and statutory debt limits, or constitutional debt limits as it pertains to the edit fund. I can't remember a discussion on the general fund, but that's a discussion for probably another day. But I'll have more information available at the February meeting. There's no further discussion. That's all I have for agenda items. Next to council comments and requests, starting with President Pro Tem Seward,
I have nothing.
Councilman Garrison,
Nothing?
Councilman Shockley,
I have nothing.
Councilwoman Pearson,
No.
Councilman Trader.
Okay.
Clerk Treasurer Aldridge, you stopped coughing. You got anything?
Yeah, good. We're finishing out the end of the year. But I'm gonna be leaving at the end of January for a week's vacation. And and then when I get back, I'll have the financial stuff to do. When I get that all done, all these reports are available to you. But the other thing I'm gonna bring to your attention is, we just had State Board in here, they were late, but from May on, they could be back here again. And I have several things lacking in my office. And one thing that and I don't seem very good, so what I'm saying to you as a council, if some of you could come up with suggestions on how I could get this, or to help out on getting it from my office so we're in compliance, it would be helpful. Number one is the log for the trolley out at the airport. State Board asked me a couple years ago for a log because there hadn't been any donations, but they wanted to know the expenses and why there hadn't been donations. So I have still waiting on a log from 2 years ago, and I need that log. Community center building, I need minutes from that meetings that you held. I don't care how sketchy they are, I don't care, I need a date, a time, I need who met there, and I
The
need.
last meeting, you talked about,
No, all
all
overall.
of them?
Overall.
Right, you met as a committee, you met as a board, so I need those down in my office for State Board. Any time that's done, that has to be in my office to be compliant. There was one other thing I needed, and I can't remember what it is now.
While you're thinking, we talked about that trolley at budget time, that was supposed to be brought in. I'm not sure who was gonna work on that or whatever, but somebody was gonna work on that and get that.
City Attorney Martin, you remember where we left that?
I think that we were waiting on further information, but part of the problem was who technically owned it, what was kept on it. I'd have to look back at my emails, but I know that you and I had talked about it and we were waiting on information that we obviously never got.
All right.
And I
Let's go
didn't
back to
know.
our notes and
Yeah,
figure that out.
yeah.
Would it be beneficial to contact, can't think of his name.
Right.
Yes, would it be beneficial to start there?
That's right.
You've contacted him and nothing? You've contacted him and haven't got anywhere, or?
Well, that would be correct.
That's right, that's what you said last meeting, if you contact him and you did not, give her all the information that she needed
Maybe Mackenzie needs to do that.
about the job. So,
Well, I think that's what they just discussed.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what
what
Mackenzie's
I'm-
gonna do.
Yeah.
I'll look into it and get back with you. I'll have to look at my emails. It's been
I
about a
think-
year, I feel. Take your time.
I think the same thing.
Cute though, isn't it? He likes it when I can't talk. I think there were originally the city of Delphi and 2 other people put money into it.
Mhm.
But the city of Delphi, these years,